So let's start this paper, IGCSE O-Level Paper 4, May-June 2024, variance 41. Let's start the paper. Name the process that is used to convert sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide in the manufacture of sulfuric acid. So that is called contact process. Okay. Obtain water from aqueous sodium chloride. Obviously, sodium chloride is a solid and you are getting water from it. Obviously, distillation can be used. Extract aluminum from purified bauxite. That's called electrolysis. Separate petroleum into useful substances. That's called fractional distillation. Then produces ethanol from aqueous glucose. That's called fermentation. Manufacture alkenes and hydrogens from large alkane molecules. So from large alkane, if you're getting alkene and hydrogen, that means it's a cracking. Then separate a mixture of soluble colored substances. If you want to separate colored substances from a mixture, obviously that's going to be chromatography. That's the first question. Let's move on to the next one. Complete table 2.1. Chlorine has an atomic number of 17, which means it has 17 proton, and obviously it has 17 electron. So to determine the number of neutrons, I need to subtract 37 from 17. So it's going to be 20. Now copper ion has a +1 charge. Obviously its atomic number is 29, which means it has 29 proton. Because of plus charge, it lost 1 electron. So total electrons would be now 28. When you subtract 63 minus 29, you will get 34 neutrons. Now the proton number is 16, which means the element is going to be sulfur because its atomic number is 16. Now 16 and 17, when you add these two species, obviously you will get number of neutrons. So number of neutrons in this scenario is going to be 33. Okay. So 33 is going to be here. Okay, we have 16 protons, we have 18 electrons, which means electrons are greater than protons. If electrons are greater than protons, which means it's going to be the anion. And how many electrons are greater than protons? Obviously, 2 electrons zyada hai protons se, which means sulfur has 2 negative charge. Okay, so that's question number 2. Question number 3. This question is about elements sodium and fluorine and the compound sodium fluoride. Sodium reacts with fluorine to form sodium fluoride. Write the equation for this reaction. So it is sodium, it is fluorine. Fluorine always exists in diatomic state. Sodium is metal, metal exists in monatomic state. When they will react together, you will get sodium fluoride. Since we have 2 fluorine here, so to balance the equation, I will put 2 here. To balance the equation, I will put 2 here also, okay? Next, some properties of sodium, fluorine and sodium fluoride are shown in table 3.1. अब याद रखिएगा कि sodium is a metal, fluorine is a non-metal, and sodium fluoride is an ionic compound. Explain why sodium conducts electricity when it is solid, because of the presence of free mobile electrons, of delocalized electrons, because of the presence of delocalized electrons. Now complete the dot and cross diagram of a molecule of fluorine. Fluorine is found in group 7 of the periodic table, which means this fluorine contains 7 valence electrons, and this fluorine contains also 7 valence electrons, and both the electrons are represented by dot and cross because examiner is looking for the outer shell electron only. Okay. Deduce the physical state of fluorine at minus 200 degrees Celsius. Obviously, fluorine is a gas. At this temperature, it becomes liquid. Explanation. See, the melting point of fluorine is minus 220, right? So below this melt, so at minus 200, it's going to be the liquid. तो अब ये भी कह सकते हैं minus 200 is greater than minus 220. Melting point of fluorine is below minus 200 degrees Celsius, and boiling point above minus 200 degrees Celsius. Look at the melting point, minus 220. Look at the boiling point, minus 188. So temperature exists between these two states, which means it has to be liquid. Explain in terms of structure and bonding why sodium fluoride has a higher melting point than fluorine. So sodium fluoride exhibit giant ionic lattice with a strong electrostatic attraction, more energy is needed to overcome such attraction. While fluorine has a simple covalent molecule with weak van der Waals forces. Oh God, with weak van der Waals forces. Less energy is needed to overcome weak force. Dilute aqueous sodium fluoride undergoes electrolysis. Hydrogen gas is produced at cathode. What is meant by the term electrolysis? Chemical decomposition of compound. You can say ionic compound also. By the passage of direct current write an ionic half equation for the production of hydrogen at the cathode. Two hydrogen ions getting electrons, converting into hydrogen gas. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Hydrogen iodide thermally decomposes into iodine and hydrogen according to the equation given below. Remember this, it is colorless. It is also colorless, but this iodine gas has a purple color. Figure 4.1 shows a gas syringe containing a mixture of hydrogen iodide, iodine, and hydrogen gases. The gas syringe is sealed and the mixture is heated to 300 degrees Celsius. The mixture of gases reaches equilibrium and is purple. Okay. Explain what is meant by the term equilibrium. When the rate of forward reaction, when rate of forward reaction is equal to rate of backward reaction, then at equilibrium, concentration must be constant. Concentration must be constant. The pressure of the mixture is increased. All other conditions stays the same. The position of equilibrium does not change. The color of the gaseous mixture turns darker purple. The temperature remains constant. Since temperature is constant, the position of equilibrium is not changing. All other conditions stays the same because the total number of moles on the reactant side is 2. The total number of moles on the product side is also 2. Since the number of moles on both the sides is same, which is why there will be no change in position of equilibrium. So number of moles on both the side is same. Suggest why the color of the mixture of gases turns darker purple. So obviously, when you increase the pressure, the gaseous molecule are compressed. So molecules come close together, which is why it becomes darker purple. At high pressure, gaseous molecules are compressed. So molecules come close together. So color is dark purple now. Okay. Part C. The temperature of the mixture of gases is decreased. All other conditions stays the same. So examiner is looking for the explanation in which temperature is decreased. The mixture of the gases turns lighter purple. State what can be deduced about the forward reaction from this information. By the way, आप नोट कीजिए एक मॉलिक्यूल से दो मॉलिक्यूल बन रहे हैं, which means it is a bond breaking process, and bond breaking process is always endothermic. Since it is an endothermic reaction, so if you increase the temperature, so if you decrease the temperature in any endothermic reaction, equilibrium favors towards left hand side. If equilibrium favors towards left hand side, obviously पर्पल कलर जो है वो लाइटर होना शुरू हो जाएगा, और इन अदर वर्ड्स यू कैन से कलरलेस गैसेस observe. So observation is going to be forward reaction is endothermic. Deduce the oxidation number of iodine in HI, obviously -1. Agar -1, and iodine is a diatomic molecule, so it has 0 charge. Methanol is manufactured by reacting carbon monoxide with hydrogen. The rate of formation of methanol increases when a catalyst is used. Choose from the list the element that is most likely to be used as a catalyst. Draw a circle around your chosen answer. So when catalyst, okay, calcium, it's a non-transition element. Sodium, we cannot use. दोनों transition element नहीं है. Carbon भी transition element नहीं है. Sulfur भी transition element नहीं है. So technically only transition elements acts as a catalyst, right? So I'm looking for the transition element in this whole situation. So copper is basically the transition element. So I'm going to go with the copper. State the effect of the position of equilibrium when a catalyst is used. No change in the position of equilibrium. Because catalyst only increases or decreases the rate of reaction. It has nothing to do with the position of equilibrium. State the effect of the catalyst on the activation energy, lowers the activation energy. Okay. Question number 5. Lead to bromide is insoluble salt and is made by precipitation. Name 2 aqueous solution. Aqueous solution means soluble salt. Because when 2 soluble salts combine together, obviously insoluble salt is formed. In order to make lead to bromide, I need 2 soluble salt. The first one is sodium bromide. And the second one is lead to nitrate, because all nitrates are soluble. Okay. Instead of using sodium bromide, you can use potassium bromide also, ammonium bromide also. Describe how to produce a pure sample of lead to bromide from the mixture of aqueous solution in this. If we want to produce a pure sample of lead to bromide, obviously, first we need to filter the mixture. Okay. Filter the mixture. So lead to bromide is collected as residue on the filter paper. Wash the residue with distilled water. And dry them on filter paper. Next, write ionic equation for the precipitation reaction produces lead to bromide, including state symbols. Oh my goodness. That is the equation. PbNO3 taken 2 plus sodium bromide NaBr, arrow PbBr2 plus 2 NaNO3. So to balance the equation, I will put 2 here. Obviously, nitrate ions and sodium ions cancel out with each other. So you will get this final equation. Lead ions, medium aqueous, bromide ions, medium aqueous, will turn to lead to bromide. And since lead to bromide has a precipitate, so it is solid. When iron 2 sulfate crystals are heated strongly, sulfur dioxide gas is given off. Describe a test for sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is basically a reducing agent, you know. So इसको टेस्ट करने के लिए हम ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट से ट्रीट कर सकते हैं. इट इज ऑल्सो एन एसिडिक गैस. तो एसिडिक गैस को चेक करने के लिए हम ब्लू लिटमस पेपर भी यूज कर सकते हैं, राइट. एंड ऑल्सो इट इज एन एसिडिक गैस. सो दोनों में से कोई भी एक इफेक्ट यूज कर सकते हैं आप, either litmus paper or either using oxidizing agent. I'm going to go for oxidizing agent, acidified potassium magnate 7, and you know potassium magnate 7 has a purple color. Sulfur dioxide is colorless. When they will react together, color changes from purple to colorless. Complete the equation for the thermal decomposition of hydrated cobalt to nitrate. So this is 2 cobalt, this is 4 nitrogen, and how many hydrogen atoms here? 4 times to 8, 8 times to 16. So it's going to be 8 here. Okay. So that's the balanced chemical equation, everyone. Part D, my goodness, that's a lengthy question, everyone. Hydrated cobalt to sulfate produces water when it is heated. A student does an experiment to determine the value of X in this hydrated salt. This is hydrated salt, guys. The student weighs a sample of hydrated cobalt to sulfate. The student heats the sample of hydrated copper to sulfate. The student weighs the remaining solid after heating. Describe what else the student should do to ensure that all the water has been given off. No other substances are required. Heating and reheating until a constant mass is observed. Reheat and reweigh until a constant mass is observed. Okay. In an experiment 1, 4.0 gram of this hydrated complex is heated. So the mass of sample of this complex is already given. Remember that. Next, cobalt sulfate has a mass of 0.775 gram. The MR of cobalt sulfate is given. The MR of water is also given. Determine the value of X. So first of all, let's find the number of moles of cobalt sulfate. So it's basically 0.775 divided by 155. So you will get how much? Where's the calculator? Oh my goodness, 0.775 divided by 155 is going to be 5 into 10 to the power minus 3 moles. Let's write it down here. Next is calculate the mass of water given off. Okay, we know the mass of sample, we know the remaining mass. So when we subtract these two values, I'll get the mass of water lost. So mass of sample is 1.405 gram minus mass of cobalt sulfate is 0.775 gram. So 1.405 minus 0.775, you will get 0.63 gram. So in order to calculate the moles of water, I need mass of water, which is already calculated in the previous part. I'm going to divide this value by 18. So 0.63 divided by 18, you will get 0.035 moles. See, guys, I know the moles of cobalt sulfate. I know the moles of water. I'll get the simplest ratio by using these two values. And so I'll get the value of X. So 5 into 10 to the power minus 3, 0.035 moles. Now, which one is the least value? Mm -mm -mm. 0.035 divided by 5 exponent minus 3. Yes. So 5 exponent minus 3 is the lowest value. Divide on both the sides. It's going to be 1. It's going to be 7, which means the formula of cobalt sulfate is dot 7H2O, and X is going to be 7. So that's the end of this question also. Let's move on to the sixth one. This question is about matters. Figure shows the blast furnace used to extract iron from its ore. The name of that ore is called hematite ore. Okay. Coke and iron are added at the top of the blast furnace. Name other substance that is added on the top of the blast furnace. You know, calcium carbonate is also being added onto the top of the blast furnace. Name the substance that leaves the blast furnace at A. Obviously, from here you will get molten iron. Oh, yes, molten iron. Slag is produced from an impurity in iron ore. Name the impurity in the iron ore. Silicon 4 oxide, also called silicon dioxide. Name two substances that reacts together to produce the high temperature in the blast furnace. So carbon and oxygen, when reacted together, then carbon dioxide gas is formed. This reaction is extremely exothermic, and therefore energy is given off. That energy increases the temperature of the blast furnace. Name two waste gases that leave the blast furnace. The first one is carbon dioxide. And obviously air contain argon also. So argon might be given off during the process. And air contain nitrogen also. So third gas would be nitrogen. So any two from these three for this part, okay? Next, zinc is produced from zinc oxide in the blast furnace. The zinc is produced as a gas. It then forms molten zinc. Suggest why the zinc produced inside the furnace is a gas, because furnace का temperature बहुत ज़्यादा high होता है. Because the temperature of furnace is very high. Then the boiling point of zinc state the name of the physical change that occurs when gaseous zinc is converted into molten zinc. The gas to liquid, that's condensation. All right. Zinc is used to coat iron to prevent rusting. Name the process used to coat iron with zinc. That's called galvanization. Okay. When the zinc coating is scratched, iron underneath does not rust. Explain why iron underneath the zinc does not rust. Because zinc is more reactive than iron. It will oxidize, or it sacrifices itself easily. Because zinc is more reactive than iron, so it oxidized easily into zinc ions. By losing electrons. Zinc oxide neutralizes both acid and bases. State the journal name amphoteric. And by the way, zinc is an amphoteric oxide. We have done that in the class. When zinc oxide neutralizes aqueous sodium hydroxide, sodium zincate is formed. मैंने ये बताई थी बात आपको. The formula of zincate ion is ZnO2. So sodium has a charge of 1 plus. Zincate ion has a charge of ZnO2 2 minus. If charges are different, they will cross multiply with each other. So the formula is going to be Na2 ZnO2. और ये formula मैंने class में बताया था आपको. That's called sodium zincate. Okay. Name the zinc compound that forms when zinc oxide neutralizes dilute sulfuric acid. So let me make the balanced chemical equation. Zinc oxide reacting with sulfuric acid, converting into zinc sulfate and water. So examiner is looking for the zinc name of the zinc compound, and zinc compound is basically zinc sulfate. I believe that's the last question. Many organic compounds contain carbon and hydrogen only. Organic compound A has the following composition by mass. Calculate the empirical formula. That's easy. Carbon and hydrogen. Carbon percentage by mass is 82.76 divided by 12. Hydrogen is 17.24 divided by 1. So I'll get 17.24. Let me find out. 82.76 divided by 12. 6.89. 6.89 is the least value. You can divide this value on both the sides. So it's going to be 1. 17.24 divided by answer. You will get 2.49. That is 2.5. So multiply by 2. Multiply by 2 in order to get simplest ratio. So it's going to be C2H5. So जब भी आंसर 1.5 हो 2.5 हो या 2.6 हो, हम उसको राउंड ऑफ नहीं करते, हम उसको लीस्ट वैल्यू से मल्टीप्लाई करके देखते हैं ताकि हमें वो वैल्यू होल नंबर में मिल जाए. सही है. तो पहले हम 2 से करेंगे, आंसर आ जाएगा तो ठीक, नहीं तो 3 से करके देखेंगे, फिर 4, फिर 5, फिर 6. तो जिससे आंसर मिलेगा उसको यूज करेंगे. ओके. कंपाउंड बी has the empirical formula CH2 and the relative molecular mass of 70. Determine the molecular formula. So that's an easy thing. We have done this in class. CH2 taken N equals to Mr. CH2 has a mass of 14. N equals to Mr is 70. So N equals to 70 divided by 14. Then N equals to how much? 70 divided by 14. I'll get 5. Okay. Now CH2 taken N की जगह पे हम 5 रखते हैं. So it's going to be C5H10 is the molecular formula of compound, and that's going to be alkene, I believe. That's going to be pentene. Now the next is figure 7.1 shows the section of polymer Q. Okay, describe the draw the displayed formula of the monomer that forms. See, this is the monomer, and this monomer is called butene. Examiner is looking for the monomer displayed formula of the monomer. So that's tricky. Hold on. This is carbon, double bond, and this is carbon. This is CH3, NH. This is CH3NH. So this is the structure of monomer. You will get this sort of polymer. Name the monomer used. Butene or 2-butene. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, fine. Propene C3H6 can be produced by heating C11H24. The product of the reactions are propene, hydrogen, and one other product in 1:1:1 ratio, equal ratio, equal molar ratio. All of them. Complete the symbol equation. Okay. How many carbon atoms we have now? 3. How many carbon atoms we have? 11. 11 minus 3. 9, 10, 11. C8. How many hydrogen atoms? 24. How many hydrogen atoms we have? 8. So 24 minus 8 becomes 16. And all of them exist in 1:1 ratio. So C8H 16. Carboxylic acids and esters contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. An ester X and a carboxylic acid Y both contain 3 carbon atoms. X and Y have the same molecular formula. Both carboxylic acid Y and ester X has 3 carbon atoms. State the name given to the compound with the same molecular formula but different structural formula. When molecular formula is same and structural formula are different, that's called isomers. Esters are made by the reaction between carboxylic acid and alcohol. Ester X is methyl ethanoate. Obviously, this is the acid part. It comes from ethanoic acid. And this is the alcohol part, and obviously it comes from methanol. Okay. Name the carboxylic acid and alcohol used to make methyl ethanoate. So it's easy. Ethanoic acid. And alcohol is methanol. Draw the displayed formula of carboxylic acid Y. Name the carboxylic acid. Now, we have a carboxylic acid which contains 3 carbon atoms. So carboxylic acid with the 3 carbon atom is called propanoic acid. So name is propanoic acid. और आपने ये सब पढ़ा हुआ है तो प्रोपेनोइक एसिड का डिस्प्लेड स्ट्रक्चर इस तरह से लिखा जाएगा CH3 CH2 COOH. That's propanoic acid. That's the end of this question. That's the end of this paper also. Thank you very much, everyone.